James chapter 5 verse 12 in the ESV translation. But above all, my brothers, do not swear either by heaven or by earth or by any other oath, but let your yes be yes, and your no be no, so that you may not fall under condemnation. I'm going to be looking at one meaning, one evidence, one word, and one level. So firstly, one meaning. Since this sermon is all about words, I thought I'd begin with a big word, lexicography, which I can't even say. But lexicography is about establishing the definition or meaning of words. But we humans have made establishing the meaning of words very hard. For example, 2 minutes. I'll be 2 minutes. Well, that can mean everything from I'll get back to you within 120 seconds to I'll get back to you when I get back from my tour of Australia. The word all right. I'm all right can mean anything from yes, everything's been fine since you last saw me, to yes, I know I have 3 less fingers than the last time you saw me, but really, I've been doing great. The word respect. With all due respect. Well, that can mean anything from I don't agree with your opinion, but I shall deal with you in a civil and dignified manner. But it can also mean I don't agree with your opinion, but I'm going to let you choose if you'd like to be verbally or physically hung, drawn and quartered. The words that come out of people's mouths, respect, I'm all right, 2 minutes, they've lost all meaning. For every word we say has such a wide variety of meanings. James saw the same thing happening in the church he was writing to. The church had a sign saying, everyone's welcome, on the door. But the word welcome could range from a smile and a warm hug if you were rich, but it could also mean being ignored and looked down on if you were poor. The congregation would describe themselves as Bible believing. But the term Bible believing could mean dedication to others, enthusiastically sharing Christ, fighting sin. But it could also mean sitting on their hands and talking about these things at the Bible study. These people would describe themselves as God's holy people. But that word holy could mean living lives that were distinct from unbelievers. Or it could mean sharing the same priorities as unbelievers and living like everybody else. The words that had come out of their mouths had lost all meaning, which was why James summarized his letter with these words. But above all, my brothers and sisters, do not swear either by heaven or by earth or by any other oath, but let your yes be yes, and your no be no, so that you may not fall under condemnation. Let your yes be yes, and your no be no. The translation of yes is yes. The translation of no is no. The translation of yes, I will pray for you is yes, I wrote your name in my diary and I prayed. The translation of yes, I will pray for you is not no, I forgot because my goldfish didn't remind me. Yes, I believe I am a sinner. Well, that also translates as humility. The translation of yes, I am a sinner is not judging the sins of others with no mercy and no compassion. The translation of yes, you are valued is Yes, I'd like to listen to you and meet up with you to chat. The translation of yes, you are valued is not no contact and no care outside of a Sunday service. The reality is there are often two meanings to the words we say. Version 1, we say something and we back it up with our action. Version 2, we say something but contradict it by how we live. But as James will emphasize throughout his letter, words without actions are meaningless. For actions are the one evidence that our words are true. And we just think, where do you find the meaning of words? Well, the answer your old English teacher might give might be a dictionary. After all, a dictionary is a book that lists the words of a language and gives their meaning. But is a dictionary really where we find the meaning of words? Say somebody says to you, "I'm sorry." Do you grab your dictionary to learn the meaning of that word sorry? Oh, this person is grieved by what they've done. Or do you learn the meaning of their words, "I'm sorry," from their actions in the days to come? Do they continue living the same and doing the same things? Or do they change? That's how you learn the meaning of if they're sorry. Say your church website describes your church as a united fellowship of believers who believe in the grace of God and care for each other. Now do people then go and get their dictionaries and look up the word united and grace and care? To go into the dictionary to try and work out what type of church you are? Or do people look at how you treat each other on a Sunday and work out what type of church you are? Do these people extend to grace to each other? Does their care go beyond asking each other, "Are you all right?" once a week? People learn the meaning of the words we use not via dictionaries, but by our actions. That's how people learn the meaning of our words. Which is why I think James gives us the following instructions. Let your yes be yes, and your no be no. James doesn't just say, let your yes mean yes. James says, let your yes be yes. Let your yes be something. Let your words become an action. If you say, yes, God loves you, then let those words become something. Do something, however big or small, that shows that you care. If you say, people are lost without Jesus, then let those words become something. Let it lead to some form of action in your life. James does not say, let your no mean no. James says, let your no be no. Saying no to sin involves action, deliberately avoiding temptation, resisting all compromises, however small. Saying no to worldliness involves action, using the remote control, keeping a track on your spending, making sure the first and most important things are actually first in your life. Our words should have one meaning. We should mean what we say. And only one evidence backs up our word, the evidence of action. And, James continues, where possible, use one word instead of many. Now in 2014, the United Nations designated Leonardo DiCaprio, the actor, as a messenger of peace, with a special focus on climate change. Now DiCaprio has always been very vocal on the subject of the environment. He is now actively engaged in speaking about it around the world. His latest film, The Killing of the Flower Moon, is all about conservationism. His last film, before that, Don't Look Up, was about how the issue of climate change is often ignored. DiCaprio has spoken line upon line about the environment. DiCaprio has said more words about the issue than any of us. But he has also been widely criticised for flying around the globe in his private jet, the most polluting form of transport that there is. It's even reported that he flew 8,000 miles in his private jet to accept a Green Award. You know, it's easy to hide behind many words, using many words as a cover for a lack of action on our part. For example, the people James was writing to were hiding behind many words. They'd expressed their commitment via a many-worded oath, swearing by earth and heaven and by everything in between. They'd expressed their care through a theatre of many religious sentiments, all stringed together. Shalom, my beloved brother, go in peace, keep warm and well fed. But their many words were a cloak for a lack of action. They hid their lack of action behind many words. And we must beware of doing the same. For example, we can talk about the need for unbelievers to hear the gospel. We can discuss it at one Bible study after another. We can say how important it is to us. But there is a danger that we hide our inaction behind many words. We don't act, so we spend our time talking as if we do. We might refer to ourselves as a caring fellowship. We might greet each other with warm sentiments. We might look somebody in the eye and say, I value you, God loves you. But there is a danger that talk about these things becomes a replacement for the real thing. For these reasons, James urges us to keep things simple. Use less words, not more. But above all, my brothers, do not swear either by heaven or by earth or by any oath, but let your yes be yes, and your no be no, so you may not fall under condemnation. For example, don't show people you are sorry by multiplying words. I am so very absolutely devastated for the effect and impact of my actions that I did to you. No, just say sorry and show you are sorry by a change in behaviour. Don't demonstrate you care for someone with the sentimental slush that you find in a many-worded Hallmark card. To the most important person in my life, who I love to the moon and back, to whom I would shed an ocean of tears to be apart. No, just simply say I care for you and multiply actions, not words, that show it. Don't talk about the things of this world being temporary and fleeting and being completely meaningless to you when you still first open the newspaper at the entertainment section. Don't waste words talking about what your priorities are. Show what your priorities are by the way that you live. Our words should have one meaning. We should mean what we say. Only one evidence backs up our words. That's action. And where possible, use one word instead of many. And finally, be people who work on the one level. Now, you cannot always trust what a child says to you. You first to work out what level of truthfulness they are operating on. For example, if a child says to you, I cross my heart, I didn't steal the cookies, they want you to know what they are telling you is really true. If that child then says to you, I cross my heart and hope to die, I didn't steal any cookies, they want you to know what they're saying is really, really true. If a child says to you, I cross my heart and hope to die, stick a needle in my eye, I didn't steal any cookies, what they are telling you is really, really, really true. But there's one problem with having different levels of truthfulness. When a person operates on different levels of truthfulness, you can never be sure how sincere they are. It actually calls all that they say into question. In much the same way, the people James was writing to operated on different levels of truthfulness and sincerity. If they swore by earth, what they were saying was true. If they swore by earth and by sky, what they were saying was really true. If they swore by earth and by sky and by heaven, then what they were saying was really, really, really true. But James reminds them that there is no such thing as levels of truth or levels of sincerity. You either mean what you say, or you don't. So he says, "But above all, my brothers, do not swear either by heaven or by earth or by any other oath, but let your yes be yes, and your no be no, so that you may not fall under condemnation." God condemns all systems where we have different levels of sincerity. If we say something, we should mean it all the time. Now, of course, nowadays, oaths and the like are a lot less common, but we still kind of operate on different levels of sincerity. I am a unsincere Christian at church, but not so sincere at work or home. I take big sins seriously, but accept little compromises with the small ones. I am this person when people are watching, but when people aren't watching, I act different. I talk the talk, but I don't live the life. When you or I have anything but one level of sincerity, it can call into question how actually sincere we are. For this reason, God condemns all systems where we have different levels of sincerity. And why? Because God himself only ever works on the one level. We read in the book of Numbers that God is not human, that he should lie. Not a human being, that he should change his mind. Does he speak and then not act? Does he promise and not fulfill? God means what he says. After God makes a promise, there is never an asterisk or small print. What God says, he always has been passionately committed to doing. And God follows up his words with action. God didn't so love the world that he sent them a card describing it. He sent his son. And did his one and only son ever talk about God's love? Barely ever. Why? Because Jesus devoted his life to showing us God's love instead. Showing God's love in action. And God has always kept his words to a minimum. For all the Bible is full of words, most of the books are narratives, stories of God at work, God in action, events demonstrating what God is like. There are a few sentences in the Bible describing God as loving, but there are whole chapters demonstrating it. There are a few verses describing the sovereignty of God. There are several stories where we see God's sovereignty at work. God has always kept his words to a minimum and focused on actions instead. And God always works on the one level. He is always good, always sincere, always the same. As we read in the book of Malachi, "For I, the Lord, do not change."